Welcome everyone to Daily Rates Live with the Mortgage Calculator. We'll take a few minutes here to get connected on all the platforms, and we'll get started shortly. We have our chat screen up there. If anybody has anything they want to shout out, feel free to put a message in the chat. If you have any questions while we're going through the loan demos, please feel free to put that in the chat. Thanks for tuning in early, Leonardo, Owen, thank you. Good morning, Chris. Give it about 30 more seconds so we can get live on all the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. Good morning, everybody. All right. There we go. Looks like we're live on LinkedIn as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and check the chat off the screen. If you have any questions while we're going through the presentation, please drop them in the chat and we will be happy to go through them. Welcome everyone. My name is Nick Hershey. I'm the president of the Mortgage Calculator. We are a correspondent lender that specializes in non-QM programs, which is one of our topics for today, which is going to be our foreign national loan program option. So yesterday we went over I-10 borrowers, which is not a foreign national. Now we're going to go over foreign national options. But before we do, we will go through the live rates today for all these standard programs and see what the market is looking like with the big announcements coming today. So let me go ahead and switch my screen and we will check it out. So this is our pricing tool for our team of mortgage professionals. This will show us the general rates and APR for today. It is November 1st, just after 11 a.m. Eastern, so all our standard programs are live. So we'll set up a basic scenario and compare across the programs. If you'd like a full loan estimate, a full breakdown of all the itemized fees that go into the APR, please get with one of our team members. We have over 400 licensed loan officers in 24 states for primary homes, and we can do our business purpose loans for investors in 44 states. So for the demo, as we do every day, we'll set up a basic scenario so we can compare the programs. A $400,000 loan amount. We'll set the LTV to 80% loan, 20% down payment. And we're going to search for the lowest possible rates we can offer, since that's the most common request now. And we'll check out the conforming conventional options first. Then we'll compare that with FHA, which is usually the next option for most borrowers. And then we'll go into our expanded guideline programs, where we have over 5,000 additional loan programs outside the standard using alternative income. We also offer VA and USDA. Remember, VA is only for eligible vets and active service members. If you are, just let us know. We'll quote it, no problem. And same thing with USDA, that's only for eligible properties. If you do happen to be shopping for one of those, just let us know. We'll start with conforming conventional. We'll do a purchase, 30-year fixed, standard loan, primary occupancy, single family home, 1 unit, state of Florida, county of Miami-Dade. And for all the demos, we use an estimated FICO score of 760 and an estimated debt-to-income ratio of 40%. So with those settings, let's check out the rates this morning. Now, there's a lot of big announcements coming today with the Fed, so we'll expect some changes later. Looks like this is about the same as it was yesterday, so no big changes yet, but we probably will see some activity. Best option here at the top, 7.374 rate, 2.25 discount points in cost, puts the final APR at 7.582. So it's a good option for a customer that qualifies for conventional. But if our customer doesn't qualify for this for any reason, usually the next option we want to look at is FHA. So we'll set up the same exact scenario. The only thing we're going to change here is the loan type to FHA. Everything else will stay exactly the same so we can compare apples to apples. But FHA does allow more leniency on credit issues. as well as allows a much higher debt to income ratio that we can go to. But for the demo, we'll keep it exactly the same so we can compare apples to apples here on the APR. It's a touch different than it was yesterday, but not much here. 6.49 rate, 2.375 discount points and cost, puts the final APR at 7.129. So our customer that qualifies for conventional and FHA may want to check out FHA. It's actually a little bit cheaper in this example. And our customers that must use FHA because of various issues, the recent changes to the MI are definitely welcomed. This APR does include the upfront mortgage insurance and yearly mortgage insurance that's required for FHA. So make sure to key in on that APR to compare across the programs. Now, where we love to specialize is if for any reason our customer unfortunately doesn't qualify using full doc for FHA or conventional. Typically, most other banks or lenders will have to deny that customer, but that's where we love to assist our customer with our non-QM, also known as expanded guidelines. That's where we have over 5,000 additional options beyond the standard using alternative income. So we'll keep everything else exactly the same, but now we have a new option pop up for income. So full doc is what we use for conventional and FHA. That's 2 years of tax returns. So we typically choose this option if our customer doesn't qualify using tax returns to choose an alternative. We've done shows on all these topics as well. Please check out some past episodes. But we have asset related, business bank statement. We have our investor programs just for investment properties. So we'll talk about that shortly. Personal bank statement 12-month is the most popular program. That's what we use for the demo. We have RSU, stated income, VOE, 1099, P&L, no income, CDFI. Tons of different variations here. The most popular, though, is our personal bank statement 12-month, and that's for our self-employed borrowers. Many times our self-employed borrowers, when they submit 2 years of tax returns, may have various write-offs and may not quite qualify for the program or just may need a little bit more income. Either way, we'll solve the problem. No tax returns involved at all, just their last 12 bank statements to determine a debt-to-income ratio using just their cash in the bank, no tax returns at all. So many times our self-employed borrowers will qualify for double or more income and can therefore get the home they really want. So let's check out these bank statement options. Again, my thing's going a little crazy here. These first options are not necessarily realistic to compare, so let's go with our first option that does work. So first bank statement option I see here that will work, 8% rate, 2.375 discount points and costs, puts the final APR at 8.113. So about 0.5 higher than conventional today for a standard bank statement option, which is pretty amazing. Typically, non-QM is much higher rates, but right now they're almost identical. And you see there is a couple even other options there that might be even cheaper in some cases. Either way, there are tons of different options here. If you scroll down, there's dozens, if not hundreds of variations, some at a little bit higher rates and costs, may allow exceptions such as bankruptcies, foreclosures, may also allow a little bit different way to calculate the income. So tons of options here. Please get with our team to find the best bank statement options. And now we'll do our final two demos on investment properties. So we love to work with investors, first-time investors, seasoned investors. Either way, we love to present some great options. So we'll set up the same scenario, 80 LTV, 20% down payment. And we'll look for the lowest rates we can offer for investments. And we will compare our conforming conventional to expanded guidelines. Remember, government programs like FHA, VA, USDA do not work for investments. So we'll just compare these two options here. Starting with conforming, everything will stay the same as our other demos. All we've changed here is the occupancy to investment. So let's check out the conventional options for investment. Oh, different than yesterday's show here, Jose. So the portfolio option, actually a touch more expensive than a Freddie Mac option we have here, which is pretty cool. So we do have a Freddie Mac option, a true conventional option, 7.624 for 3.5 discount points and costs, puts the final APR at 7.874. Usually this portfolio option, that's not quite a conventional, but basically follows all the same guides, is the best option. It's today at 7.75 for 3.25 discount points, puts the final APR at 7.992. So tons of options here. definitely check out which one works best for you. Sometimes and some days, as yesterday was true, this portfolio option will be cheaper. Some days, looks like this option is cheaper just today. So definitely check those different options out under the full doc. Now, most of our investors, though, want to compare some non-QM options. So the final demo, we always want to check out our non-QM options for investment properties. So when we select expanded guidelines, aka non-QM, for investments, we have to select a couple things. First off, the income. Most popular income for investments going to be our investor DSCR program because it doesn't require any income or employment from the borrower. Simply use the estimated rental income from the property to document the DSCR value. It stands for debt service coverage ratio. If the estimated rents can cover the expenses, the PITIA of the mortgage, that's a ratio of 1.0 or higher, aka the property cash flows. We also have options for ratios under 1.0 where the property doesn't quite cash flow. But for the demo, we always put 1.5 as the highest value so we can see all the program options. And the final thing we must select is a prepayment penalty. That is standard. 3 years is standard on these programs. We can select 0, that will cost more and limit what shows up. We could also select 5, that will cost less but does limit what shows up. 3 years is standard. That's what we'll do for our demo here. So let's check out our DSCR options this morning. All right. Looks like we got DSCR that beats the portfolio and the conventional, which is pretty cool. 7.75 rate, 3.5 discount points, 7.9 APR, which was actually beating everything on the conventional side. So absolutely amazing when we have DSCR options that beat conventional. I would say 100% of investors will choose this option because it's much more flexible when it's cheaper. Most of our investors, I'd say 90+%, will still choose a DSCR option, even when conventional is cheaper by 1 or even 2 points sometimes because of the flexibility to do 1, 2, 5, 10 loans, no income, no employment documentation, and refinance multiple properties to buy multiple new properties. So tons of flexibility here. There's dozens of options. Some of these at a little bit higher rates and costs may allow bankruptcies, foreclosures, other credit issues, may allow us to use alternative methods to document the income. Very popular request. We did that earlier this week. Short-term rental income calculations. So check out that episode to see some of these options that allow short-term rentals. And our segue into the topic for today, some of these options may allow borrowers, like yesterday we had I-10s. Today we're going to be talking about foreign nationals. So let me switch my screen and bring up our topic for today. So today we'll be talking about foreign national loans. Remember, foreign nationals do not make income in the U.S., do not live in the U.S., do not have a visa in the U.S. They're just looking to invest in property in the U.S. So these are different than your I-10s that we did yesterday. And there are options for foreign nationals on DSCR and some of our other programs. So I'm sure Jose has a couple options for our foreign nationals out there. Most common is going to be the DSCR that we just went over, but not all of those programs allow foreign nationals, and there's some ins and outs there once we get into those. So, Jose, if you're ready, why don't you explain foreign nationals a little bit better and what they are and are not, because we went over that yesterday, and then we'll check out the examples.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Daily Rates Live with the Mortgage Calculator. Now, yesterday we had our I-10 show. So, as you know, the I-10 borrower lives permanently in the U.S. and derives their income also permanently in the U.S. So, totally different option when we're looking at our topic for today, which is our foreign national borrower, which does not derive their income in the U.S. They are, I mean, if you're using income, you're looking at the accountant from their country of origin. If it's DSCR, then it's DSCR. But they also do not have to have U.S. based credit like the I-10 borrower has to have U.S. based credit. So different situation here when we're looking at an I-10 borrower versus a foreign national borrower, but very easy to mistake it because the I-10 borrower also does not have status in the U.S. So let's go over some options here uh, that I have for you all. So this is pretty simplified here. In either they're going full doc or they're going DSCR. Now, full doc on a foreign national is going to depend on if they are self-employed or if they are salaried or hourly. You do need some type of an income verification letter when you're going full doc. We also have two different channels that we can take this. One channel is going to be the channel that's going to ask for bank reference letters and credit reference letters, and the other channel is not going to ask for bank reference letters and credit reference letters, but if it is full doc, is going to ask for the income verification letter. So an accountant letter if they're self-employed, or a verification of employment letter if they are salaried. So at 75% LTV is the maximum LTV, and you're looking at 10.25% interest rate is our par rate, and you can buy that down to 9.125. So now we have our, what I like to call our simplified full doc option. This is also 25% down, is going to require the income verification letter if it is a full doc loan, whether it's self-employed or whether it's salaried or hourly. But this option, the simplified option, does not require bank reference letter nor credit reference letters. Just costs a little bit more, but one other good option, one other good feature from this option also is that it does not require a visa nor a passport from the borrower if they're not going to sign in the United States. Now, as most of you all know, during the pandemic and after, foreign national purchases had been hindered a bit because they did not have their passports updated. Many of the consulates throughout the world were either shut down or working very restricted schedules. So, getting those visas updated, their U.S. visas updated for people that are from non-visa waiver countries, was causing anywhere from a 12 to 18-month delay in the issuance of that visa. So this option is a workaround if the borrower is willing to buy the property without actually physically coming to visit and seeing it. I mean, if it's a new development, maybe they already saw the development 2 years ago. They just haven't been able to close. They're not ready to close. Now they're going to have to close. Well, this option allows them to close without having the passport or the visa. And it's only a little bit higher, as you'll see here, 10.875. Um, is costing half a point. They can buy that down to 9.99 compared to the other full doc option where it starts at 10.25 at par, and they could buy it down to 9.125. But again, this does require all the verifications that you could imagine from a foreign national. So now we go with a foreign national DSCR option. Now, this option here does require the an accountant reference letter just to confirm where they live, basically, right? That they live wherever they live in their country of origin. But you will see now, if you'll notice here now, that the pricing is better in our DSCR than in our full doc option, right? This is one of our new conduits that we just got added on to the mortgage calculator mix, and you'll see 9.875 actually having a little bit of a lender credit, 0.113, and you could buy that down to 9%, costing 2.5, and probably buy it a little bit more than that and still be in compliance at these loan amounts. The last example I was going to show you, I wasn't able to get the quote to pull up. Seems to be an issue with the. I was getting a different price on the investor's actual portal, but I will state that it is the simplified version of the DSCR, and it is 75% LTV as well, and the par rate at a 75% LTV for the simplified DSCR option, also at 75%, is 10.625. So 10.625% par rate, 75% LTV, and no accountant's letter needed to verify anything of any type of residency, no credit reference letter needed, no bank reference letter needed. A very simplified version. And as always, on the foreign national loans, they do not require US based credit unless they already have US based credit that shows up when you attempt their credit pull, which then you would have to meet the minimum guidelines for the different programs. I have run these scenarios for foreign national borrowers that did not have US based credit.
All right. Don't see any questions. See someone checking in from Portugal. That's pretty cool. So, good topic for people outside the country. If there's any questions, you can throw them in last minute there, guys. Foreign nationals, very popular now, as Jose mentioned. They were clogged up for a while. So down here in Florida, Jose was firsthand experience that. He had buyers that were waiting for visas to come pay for properties, right? So cash deals are held up, finance deals are held up. Now everything seems to be moving along just fine, and our conduits have definitely opened up a little bit to these types of loans. All right, cool. We got one. Uh, that's from a team. That's an internal comment there, Chris. Shoot us an email there, buddy, for anything related to just the team. But I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up if nobody has any questions
Well,
for foreign nationals. Sure.
what I just wanted to add, for most of the MLOs out there, the foreign national loans, if you properly structure and set the expectations in the beginning of the process, or should be the easiest loan you're going to close, other than like a CDFI no income type loan, right? The only expectations you really have to be clear to set, which is really simplified with our simplified option loan here, where they don't have to have a passport and visa and all that stuff, is where and how are they going to sign. That has to be set up, because if they're not going to sign in the US, you have to confirm what are the requirements. Some will allow remote online notarization, some won't. That also is going to depend on the title company doing the deal. Some title underwriters won't allow remote online notarization. So that's really the main logistics, believe it or not, that you're going to have to confirm here in the beginning is your borrower going to come to the US to sign, or are they going to sign overseas? And if they're going to sign overseas, are they going to sign at a consulate embassy, or are they going to use remote online notarization? That's key, because you don't want to have to be sorting that out when you have a clear to close, and now you may end up delaying your closing by 2 or 3 weeks if they're actually going to sign at a consulate, and the earliest appointment could be 3 weeks or more away.
All right. We do have a program question here, Jose, before we wrap up. The minimum loan amount, I think it varies across the programs, but do you know on any of them specifically?
Mainly 100,000. Now we do have one conduit that is 75,000, but I don't know if they go 75,000 in their foreign national loans. We would have to check on that.
All right. So it looks like the questions are through here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email us. We're happy to answer any questions there. Oh, we do have one more from Nicole here. If they do sign in the US, then they do have to provide a passport and visa or a waiver, correct?
Yes, I mean that's going to be a requirement, because that's the only way they're going to be able to come here to sign. Unless they're from a visa waiver country, but you know they're still going to have to show a passport, a valid passport, because it's the only way they're going to be able to come into the country.
All right, cool. Couple good questions. Thank you, everybody. We do this every morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we'll be back tomorrow with another deep dive topic. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and thank you, Jose. And we will see everybody tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.